Hey everybody, this is Christy and welcome back to Little by Little. I appreciate you joining me again today. So today we're going to have part 2 of our Valentine's Day gift ideas and DIY. For today's gift ideas, we're going to be talking about some items I found at Five Below. First up, in their jewelry section, Five Below carries a 20-pack of fashion earrings. They are nickel free and they retail there for $5. They have the backs on them and also the safety. Next up, we have this throw kindness like confetti set of fashion rings. It is a 10-pack and it also retails for $5. I'm not really sure whether or not these are nickel free, but I believe they are. Also, at Five Below, Alchemy Living carries a satin sleep mask. This is a very great product. I gave it to my sister for Christmas. This retails for $3. She said it's really good at blocking out the light and it's super soft and very comfortable. It's very posh, darling. Next up, we have this $5 t-shirt that says never too old for fairy tales. Five Below in their t-shirt section, they carry a lot of t-shirts in different designs and also characters. So I picked this one up because it's a really pretty blush color and it's very, very soft and it fits really well. Also, in the makeup section, Five Below carries these very large makeup bags. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. It came in different colors. I saw black, lavender, mint green, and hot pink, as well as this light pink one that says "You are beautiful." Now the DIY. We're going to be doing watercolor wall art. So from Dollar Tree, you're going to want to pick up a pack of their 4.5 by 4.5 squares. It's either 4 by 4 or 4.5. And we are going to use this for our design. You're going to need 4 of them, so basically one pack. We're going to be painting all of these on the front white using Waverly's chalk paint. It's up to you if you want to paint the back. I originally just painted the front and the sides, but you'll see later that I went back in and I painted the back. You can do as many coats of this as you like. Right now I was pressed for time, so you'll see that I'm using the heating gun to make sure that these are thoroughly dry before we get started with the watercolor. Now that you have these set up, we're going to need to make sure these are stuck together. In the automotive section of Dollar Tree, they have masking tape. You are going to push all the pieces close together, make sure they are lined up, and you are going to place them on the back side, and you're going to tape them down. Make sure that there's a little bit of overhang on the tape because that's what you're going to use when you flip it over. You're going to fold that backwards, and that's going to secure the pieces, the wood pieces, to your work surface so that it doesn't move around while you're painting the design. Just make sure you push the pieces very close together so that way you don't have too much bleed from the watercolor. And again, you'll see me folding the tape excess backwards to hold it down to the surface of the table. From Michaels, I got this really great high pigmented watercolor. It was, I believe, $5 to $10, somewhere in that price range. It is by the brand Artist Loft. The lid comes off, so you can use it as a tray to hold your watercolor. Sorry about that. You're going to need 2 cups of water, one to clean your paintbrushes, and fresh water to apply your paint to the surface, and also to wet the surface of whatever you're working on. It's always best to wet the surface first, so that way you don't get really sharp lines from the watercolor, because sometimes it'll stain it and you can't get rid of the sharp lines. Also, you're just going to need some round paint brushes and some detail brushes. Some of these are from Artist Loft as well, and there are a couple here that are from Dollar Tree. The Artist Loft brand, like I said, you can find at Michael's. And here's the detail brush we're going to use for our design later. So for this one, I'm going to be using mostly pinks, purples, and some oranges, and probably about 2 of the darker red colors. We're going to be using colors that resemble a sunset, because that's the type of coloring I'm going for this piece. Also, make sure that you have some paper towels or tissue. So you can use Kleenex or paper towel, because you're going to need some to clean off the paintbrush, and also to add to blot the surface to make the design we're going to use. We're going to be making a marbled design, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. So first up, we're going to start wetting the paint colors we're going to use and adding each color to the tray. So you're going to take a little bit of water from one of the cups, and you're going to just dab each one of the paint colors and then transfer it to the tray. You can add as much water as you like. Just make sure you add enough water, so like I said, so that it doesn't do the sharp edges on the art piece. I finally learned how to do a speed up on my videos, people. This is a game changer. I just want to say that. I just want to put that out there. So now we're going to start adding water to the surface. I'm going to make lines, like really squiggly lines with the water, with the fresh water. And it's kind of resembling the movement of a heartbeat on a cardiogram. So you're starting very small at the edge of the piece of the 4x4, and then you're just going to start going small, medium, and then large in the center. So basically the entire center should be coated from top to bottom and from side to side. And then you're going to trail off with the same pattern, medium to small, to just like a line of water going off the edge. Now we're going to start putting our paint on. I'm just dotting the paint and making, like, you know, little squiggly lines and details in different places, because I want it to look as much like marble as possible, and I want to get the fine details that are in the marble. So you'll see I'm just like starting with the lighter colors first before I head to the darker reds. I want to do the darker reds at the end to make a really nice coloring and detail on there. Once that's on there, try not to let it dry. Start blotting it as soon as you get all the colors down. You have to work very fast, so that way it doesn't leave any stained marks that you can't get rid of. So you'll see right there on the side, I kind of waited a little too long, but you won't be able to see that once I coat it with the other colors. If you do get like a harsh line, try to go in with the clean water and a clean paintbrush immediately and rub over it. And then when you take the tissue to blot, make sure that at those points that you're taking the tissue and you're kind of like twisting it a little bit in order to help it blend outward. I decided to add a little more orange because it's looking a little too pink for me. So I added a little more orange and yellow. But make sure you stay to the pattern, so small, medium, large, large, medium, small. So that way you know where to place the paint. Now it's looking a little more like a sunset here. And not just like, you know, pink spots. Once it is dry, you're going to start doing your detailing. And for this, I'm going to be using a brand called Testers, which is a gilding paint. I got mine from Blick Art Supplies, but they also carry it at Michael's. It comes in a wide range of metallic colors, and it's pretty good paint, actually. So if you ever need to gild any art pieces, Testors is the brand to use. The color we're using today is copper. So we're going to be making striations with this. Striations are the things that you find in marble. You'll see some marbles have like dark lines that almost look like veins. That's what we're going to be creating with this paint. This is an oil-based paint, so make sure you shake it up before using it and try to use a little bit because a little goes a long way. And also be careful of the smell. It has a very, very strong odor to this paint. So if you can open a window, you can open a window while you're painting with this. It's not really necessary, but I like to do it because of the fact that it smells really strong for me. Each person is different. So when you're making the veins, make sure that you're starting to press heavy and then just kind of trail off. And while you're doing that, make sure you're twisting the paintbrush so that way you get the really nice squiggly type of design. They should look kind of like tree branches almost. But don't put too many of the veins on there. Just try to put it in strategic places wherever you think it would look nice. Also make sure that you're making it connect the pieces. So just go through each piece with like one line if you can, or trail it off of the edge of the art piece so it looks more realistic. And you can also make parts of the veining lines thicker than others. Maybe just like a spot here or there. You'll figure it out. I trust you. You're all great people. Alright, next up, we're going to go into Cricut Design Space for those that have a Cricut. If you do not have a Cricut, if you want to freehand whatever word you want to put on there, the 4-letter words, or if you want to use more pieces than that, you can. It's entirely up to you. I'm using the word love for my piece because this is a Valentine's Day art piece. Make sure that when you go into Cricut, you click off at the top the little square box that says kerned fonts. That way you get every design that they have. The font that I am using for this is called Botanicals. Make sure that when you're resizing it, that you make the size for each letter 2.5 by 2. So 2.5 inches across, no, 2.5 inches from top to bottom and 2 inches from side to side. That way it fits directly in the center and people can actually see the letters, but they're not overtaking the art piece. So this part will take a little while to get the sizing that you want. You can do each letter separately if you wish. We're using Cricut paper in the black matte finish. Once it has been cut, you can actually peel off, we call it weeding, so you can take off the pieces that you do not need, as you can see me doing here. I don't know why I had a hard time pulling the center out of that O. I thought I was going to tear it, but it actually didn't tear, thank the Lord. Now we're going to add our transfer paper. I am going to cut the transfer paper into 4 individual parts, so that way I can place these letters on individually. I lost the footage for this part. It's my using one of Dollar Tree's, 2 of Dollar Tree's wooden rulers, one 12 inches and one 6 inches, so that way I can hang it on the wall. You can actually use the pre-drilled holes that are already in there instead of drilling holes. And it also holds the piece together. And now you'll see me placing the letters down. Make sure that when you place the letters down with the transfer paper, you don't push it down onto the surface. This is removable vinyl, so I can't take it up, but if you are using vinyl that is not removable, you're not going to be able to take it off of there if you push it down before you have the correct placement. So make sure you have a ruler on hand to measure it out, to make sure it's even, before you take the scraper and push it down onto your work surface. And that is a Dollar Tree ruler that I used to make the hanger for the back of this. Once all your letters are even, you can start pushing the pieces onto your surface to make them And you'll see me using the scraper to pull off the transfer paper. I don't know what is going on with me today. I am tired, y'all. All right. And here is the piece all complete. You can hang it on your wall. If you rent, you don't have to. Just use Velcro. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.